All right, welcome to a February 24th edition, 2018 edition of Hoosier Econ. And the subject of the video vlog, or the vlog itself, will be: should Indiana ban selling guns to residents of Chicago and the surrounding Chicago region? Very controversial type of topic I'm bringing up. I am pro Second Amendment. I carry firearms a lot of my time when I'm out and about. I tell people to go to the firing range and learn how to use a handgun. And I believe that people should be able to carry wherever as long as they are a non-criminal and pass various background checks. I make no apologies about it. And I think that an armed society is very much necessary because of the actual cultural crap that is out there today. So when the Parkland massacre happened on Valentine's Day, something usually happens in the print media where Indiana gets brought up. And what happens is people of the politicians of Chicago and the anti-gun people usually come out and say, well, our gun problems in this city is because of the fact that Indiana has lax gun laws. So that right there is a lie. Whenever you buy a firearm in the state of Indiana, you can look it up. You can, analyze it, read the law over and over. We do background checks. And it is true that people are coming from Chicago and buying handguns and then reselling them on the streets of Chicago. But what the people are not telling you is that that's called a straw purchase, and you're already breaking a federal law. When you come in and you buy a gun, we are only doing the background check of that person. So this is going on, but it's not Indiana's fault. I mean, they're just selling the firearm. So, I have a big beef with Chicago. I'm tired of Chicago. Chicago cannot rule themselves. And I'm not saying everyone, okay? There are conservatives, there are libertarians there. There are people who don't want anything to do with the crime and the high taxes and the political corruptness. But I'm tired of Chicago. I'm tired of Chicago whining and bitching. Chicago, to be a real leader in life, you have to come up with solutions and implement them. If you want to be a great boss, you have to have the ability to say no. That's one of the most magical words to make you a leader in this life. So I think it's time for the state of Indiana to come up with a gun ban selling to Chicago. If they want to blame us on their gun problems, I want to break ties. I mean, businesses are already leaving them in droves. And the people that are left behind, that's fine. If you like living in that type of atmosphere, that type of politics, the carjackings, the 11-year-olds being blown away on a Tuesday afternoon in the middle of the street, fine. Have at it. But to constantly blame Indiana on your problems, I say it's time for a breakup. And one of the true breakups that we can do is no more firearm purchases from the people of Chicago or the surrounding counties. Okay, make your people leave the city and go find their other straw purchases somewhere else. Make them go to Michigan. Make them go to Wisconsin. I'm over Chicago. All right, and I'll give you a perfect example. Just last week, a father decapitated his 2-year-old son in the city of Chicago. And it doesn't even affect anyone there. It's just another decapitation. So if you disagree with me banning gun sales to Chicago residents, we're going to have to implement some sort of rule or heavy restriction to the residents of Chicago. Once again, I'm not trying to hurt the good citizens there, but I'm just over Chicago. And if you can't control yourself, if you can't get your crime handled, and you want to be all tough guy and talk shit about Indiana, then fine, let's start restricting ourselves and solving the problem that way. Because Chicago's not going to do it on their own. I mean, these are people, you have politicians in Chicago that asked for the United Nations and the United States military to actually patrol their streets. I mean, this is the insanity out of that town. So, and, maybe a gun ban is not the solution. Maybe we should have a 21-day wait period on firearms. Maybe we need to start doing a database of people from Chicago, plug their addresses in and their names, and then if a straw purchase happens and you trace the gun back, we can maybe start pinpointing the addresses of where these straw purchases are. Maybe Indiana needs to have a straw purchase law itself. So if you come into the state and do a straw purchase and the gun ends up in a murder because you sold it illegally, maybe we need to have a mandatory minimum of a 25-year sentence for these straw purchasers. Because the folks of Indiana have no problem building prisons. We will house your garbage. We are for your prison life being absolute crap. We understand rule of law. We are a morally abiding society here in Indiana. Chicago cannot control themselves. They think crime is fantastic. So I'm open to the comment section of this video and solving this issue, because we are not going to change for Chicago. We're over Chicago. Our state is going up, Chicago's going down. If you like living there, fine. But you're not going to lecture us anymore. Those days are long gone. You're not going to denormalize us here in Indiana, because we're going to denormalize you first. So, to the politicians in Chicago, keep complaining, but at some point, the boiling point's going to be here in Indiana, and we're going to make your life hell. We're going to come back. You guys have a great day. Leave any comments. Share the video if you like it. You guys have a great weekend.